Can silence change your life? The hidden wisdom of stillness. A Buddhist lesson. Silence. A word that may feel unfamiliar or even uncomfortable for many. We live in a world filled with noise, conversations, news, music, digital notifications. Our minds are constantly occupied, our thoughts racing, and it often seems as if silence is merely a void that needs to be filled. But what if silence is actually a valuable space? A space where we can see more clearly, feel more deeply, and live more consciously. In daily life, we rarely think about the power of silence. Yet sometimes, during a tense conversation, a conflict, or a moment of overwhelm, we intuitively sense that words are not always the best solution. A brief moment of silence can have a greater impact than a long discussion. A pause before an impulsive reaction can diffuse an argument, and mindful listening, rather than rushing to respond, can create a deeper connection. But silence is not only valuable in our relationships. In Buddhist teachings, it is seen as a gateway to inner wisdom. In meditation, silent retreats, and contemplative practice, many people discover that true insight often arises in silence, not in endless thinking or speaking. This audiobook will explore why silence is an underrated but transformative force. Together, we will uncover how mindful silence can help prevent conflicts, how the practice of stillness is used in Buddhism, and how you can integrate more moments of quiet into your daily life. Are you ready to rediscover the power of silence? Then let's begin our journey. Chapter 1. The Wisdom of Silence. When words become unnecessary. Imagine you're in a heated conversation. Someone says something that hurts or angers you. Your first impulse is to respond immediately, perhaps to defend yourself, perhaps to retaliate. But in this crucial moment, something shifts. You pause. Instead of reacting, you take a deep breath and remain silent. What happens in this silence? You give yourself a moment to see the situation more clearly. The urge to react instantly fades and a new possibility arises. You can consciously decide whether your words are truly necessary or if silence is the wiser choice. Impulsive speech is an overlooked cause of conflict. We have all experienced situations where a thoughtless word ignited or escalated a conflict. Maybe it was a heated email, an unfiltered response in an argument, or a comment we later regretted. Words hold immense power. They can build bridges or create walls. And often the key to wisdom lies not in what we say, but in what we consciously choose not to say. Buddhism teaches us that our speech should be guided by 3 questions. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If even one of these questions is answered with no, it may be better to remain silent. Silence does not mean suppressing our thoughts or never expressing our opinions. It means being mindful of when words are constructive and when they stem only from ego or emotional reactivity. Silence as a tool for conflict resolution. In practice, silence can be a powerful tool for de-escalating conflicts. Here are some specific situations where mindful silence can work wonders. During an argument, instead of immediately responding, take a brief pause. This allows you to give a thoughtful reply, or even recognize that some discussions naturally settle on their own. In difficult conversations, sometimes people expect you to defend or justify yourself. A moment of silence can shift the dynamic, signaling that you are not engaging in escalation. In professional discussions, in meetings or negotiations, those who remain silent and think before speaking often have their words carry more weight. saying more with fewer words. We often believe that more words create more impact, but the opposite is often true. The most powerful statements are those carefully chosen. Great wisdom does not require many words. It is revealed through clarity and simplicity. The art of mindful silence. Silence is not the same as avoidance. It is not about dodging difficult conversations or withdrawing passively. Rather, it is about incorporating a moment of reflection before speaking. A useful way to practice this is the 3-second rule. Before reacting to a provocative statement or getting caught in a heated discussion, take 3 deep breaths. This small pause can be the difference between an impulsive reaction and a mindful response. Silence as inner strength. It often takes more inner strength to say nothing than to speak impulsively. Silence can be a sign of self-control, wisdom, and respect for yourself and for others. Perhaps today, you can consciously pause in a conversation and observe what happens. Sometimes, the deepest insights are not found in words, but in the silence between them. Chapter 2: The Meaning of Silence in Buddhism. In the modern world, silence is rare. Our days are filled with noise, conversations, digital notifications, and an endless flow of information. But in Buddhist monasteries and meditation centers, silence is not just the absence of sound. It is a conscious practice. It is a space for insight, a gateway to the deepest form of understanding. Why does silence play such a significant role in Buddhist teachings? The answer lies in the nature of the mind. As long as we jump from one distraction to another, we have little chance to truly hear ourselves. But when we become still, when the outer world quiets down, something essential happens. We meet ourselves. Anyone who has ever visited a Buddhist monastery or participated in a meditation retreat will quickly notice silence is not just encouraged, it is often a rule. In many Zen monasteries or Vipassana retreats, participants refrain from speaking for days or even weeks. Why? Not because words are inherently bad, but because they often prevent us from truly understanding. Through silence, the mind is forced to turn inward. We can no longer escape. We can no longer lose ourselves in conversations or distractions. What remains is a direct encounter with our thoughts, emotions, and patterns. At first, this silence may feel unfamiliar or even unsettling, but over time, it reveals a deeper dimension. What is usually drowned out by external noise, inner fears, hidden emotions, but also clarity and serenity begins to surface. Within this silence lies an immense potential for self-discovery. In Buddhist teachings, silence and mindfulness are deeply intertwined. Mindfulness means fully experiencing the present moment, without distraction, without judgment. But how can we be mindful if our minds are constantly occupied? This is where silence becomes essential. When we consciously embrace silence, when we stop speaking and start listening, a natural state of mindfulness arises. We hear the rustling of the wind, the buzzing of a bee, the distant ringing of a bell, sounds that usually go unnoticed. We feel our own breath, our heartbeat, the subtle sensations within our body. And most importantly, we begin to observe our own thoughts without becoming entangled in them. This mindfulness within silence is one of the most powerful forms of meditation. It teaches us to be present, not through words, but through pure awareness. Chapter 3: How Silence Calms the Mind and Creates Clarity. Many people who begin meditating quickly realize one thing: their mind is loud, very loud. Thoughts come and go in an endless stream. Memories, worries, plans, inner dialogues. It seems impossible to find stillness, but this is precisely where the practice begins. Silence is not just the absence of external noise, it is an inner state of being. When we meditate, we invite silence, not by forcefully suppressing thoughts, but by observing them without reacting to them. A famous Buddhist analogy compares the mind to a disturbed lake. As long as we keep stirring the water with words, thoughts, and distractions, it remains restless. But when we become still, the lake gradually settles. The water clears and we can finally see to the bottom. This is how silence works in meditation. It allows us to gain deeper insights, not through active searching, but through simply being. From resistance to stillness. In the first moments of silence, it may feel strange or even uncomfortable. Our mind is accustomed to being busy. It craves input, stimulation, and activity. When we take these stimuli away, the mind resists silence. But if we stay with it, if we move through this initial discomfort, a transformation begins. The inner noise gradually fades. Thoughts slow down, instead of jumping uncontrollably from one topic to another. Our awareness becomes clearer, both of our surroundings and, most importantly, of our inner world. For the first time, we might notice the patterns that dominate our thoughts. We see how often we hold on to the same worries or get caught in endless loops of thinking. This realization is liberating, because only when we see these patterns clearly can we begin to let them go. When we integrate silence into our lives, whether through meditation, intentional moments of quiet, or simply reducing constant distractions, profound changes begin to unfold. We become more self-aware. Silence creates space for us to meet ourselves. Without constant external influences, we learn to listen to our own thoughts and emotions. We gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and a clearer sense of what truly matters to us. We react less impulsively. Those who regularly practice silence develop an inner distance from their emotions. This does not mean we stop feeling, quite the opposite. But we become less controlled by them. We recognize anger, fear, or sadness as temporary states, without being completely swept away by them. We gain clarity in difficult situations. Our minds are often overloaded with information and impressions, making it difficult to make clear decisions. Silence helps reduce inner turmoil and step back from the noise. This allows us to approach situations from a place of calm, making it easier to respond with clarity rather than react out of stress or confusion. Even from a scientific perspective, the importance of silence is well documented. Studies show that regular periods of silence have numerous positive effects on the brain. Silence supports brain regeneration. A study published in the Journal of Neuroscience found that 2 hours of silence per day can promote the growth of new brain cells in the hippocampus, the area responsible for learning, memory, and emotional regulation. Silence reduces stress. Noise and constant auditory stimulation trigger the release of the stress hormone cortisol. Regular exposure to silence, however, has been shown to lower blood pressure and reduce activity in the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for fear and stress responses. Silence enhances creativity. An overstimulated mind often struggles to generate new ideas. Silence allows the brain to work on deeper levels, fostering the emergence of fresh, creative thoughts. Silence strengthens emotional intelligence. By practicing stillness and observing our inner world, we become more attuned to our own emotions and more aware of the emotions of others. This enhances our ability to navigate social interactions with greater empathy and understanding. Chapter 4. practical ways to bring more silence into your life. You don't need to completely change your life to benefit from the power of silence. Even small adjustments can have a profound impact. Here are some simple exercises to get started. Start your day in silence. Instead of immediately checking your phone or listening to the news, take the first 5 minutes of your day in complete quiet. Sit by a window, take a deep breath, and begin your morning with intentional silence. Create silent moments between activities. Rather than rushing from one task to the next, introduce transition periods. After a conversation or an intense task, take 30 seconds of stillness before moving on. Use silence as a conscious break. Moments of waiting, at a traffic light on the train or in line at the supermarket, are perfect opportunities to pause and listen rather than automatically reaching for your phone. Replace background noise with true silence. Try occasionally going without background music, podcasts, or television. Observe how your mind responds when it truly has a chance to rest. In Buddhism, there are specific silence rituals designed to clear the mind. You can easily integrate these practices into your daily life. Daily silence at a set time. Choose a time each day when you remain completely silent for 10 to 15 minutes. No phone calls, no conversations, just pure silence. You can also combine this with a short meditation session. Silent walks. Take regular walks without music, podcasts, or distractions. Allow yourself to simply listen to the sounds of nature or the subtle noises of your surroundings. Silent meals. Try eating one meal a day in complete silence. No distractions, no conversation, just you, your food, and your awareness of the present moment. Why silence? Rituals matter. Silence rituals are not a restriction, but a conscious choice to pause the constant flow of words in order to bring more depth and presence into your life. Silence is a powerful force. It doesn't come to us automatically. We must invite it in. But with small rituals, mindful pauses, and conscious communication, we can all bring more peace and clarity into our daily lives. Silence as the key to self-discovery. Silence is more than just a technique or a break from the noise of everyday life. In truth, silence is conscious presence. It means being fully in the here and now, without distraction, without escaping into words or thoughts. It is a state of being, a key to the deepest form of self-awareness. Those who regularly practice silence begin to realize that it is not merely an absence of sound, but a space in which we meet ourselves. What do we encounter in silence? Our thoughts, our emotions, everything we usually cover up with distractions. Silence is the mirror that reveals who we truly are. And this is why so many people struggle with being silent, because they fear this confrontation with themselves. Yet in reality, it holds a profound opportunity. When we truly embrace silence, something remarkable happens. We perceive ourselves and our surroundings more deeply. We recognize our own patterns and can consciously transform them. We gain clarity about what truly matters to us. Silence is not something to be endured. It is a force that can transform our lives. It helps us live more consciously, think more clearly, and understand ourselves better. At the end of this audiobook, I invite you to see silence not as something foreign, but as something deeply rooted within you. Because within silence lies a wisdom that speaks louder than words. Until next time, be silent and clear.